Hey guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening. This is Ankush here from Alif Consulting. Welcome in our Azure Weekly Update video. In this video, we will be going to talk about all the updates which has been released by Microsoft for Azure Cloud in last week, right? So here are the updates which has been released in last week, right? So let's quickly jump into these updates and deep dive and understand what are the enhancement and updates has been released for Azure Cloud services. Now, the first update which we have for Azure Red Hat OpenShift now has been expanded to one more region called Brazil Southeast. So Azure Red Hat OpenShift is now available in Brazil Southeast region, and as we know, Azure Red Hat OpenShift provides high availability, fully managed OpenShift cluster on demand and is monitored and operated jointly by Microsoft and the Red Hat. Right. So this is the first update. The second update which we have is for Azure VM backup, general update for December 2022. This specific update is for a SQL VM. As we know, Azure Backup interact with VSS services to get the application consistent snapshot. When a user configure Azure VM Backup for SQL VMs, VSS Writer further interact with SQL Writer to queries the SQL server within the VM. By default, this create a full SQL snapshot that can cause a VM snapshot delay and reset the log sequence number for SQL log backup. Right? This reset may cause a problem during the recovery, and at the end user is not aware of this reset because this is something is done by VSS writer. To avoid this, we Microsoft has suggested to set up a key that will create a SQL only full snapshot instead of full copy. A full copy snapshot does not reset the LSN, and it also guarantees equal recoverability to snapshot point in time. Now, this is something which was there earlier, right? But from December 12, 2022 onwards, Azure VM Backup will automatically set the registry key and take the SQL copy only full snapshot, right? With this one, this registry is going to be set up automatically for all the SQL VMs. User no need to take any kind of further action. Even user is not going to aware if these changes has been done on a VM. Second, user are not going to expect any performance degradations or any performance issues with this changes, right? So this is a new changes for VM backup only for the SQL servers or the SQLs VMs on which SQL server is running. The next update which we have is for Azure Site Recovery with Backup Center. Now we have at scale monitoring for Azure Site Recovery within the Backup Center. As we know, Backup Center has been the go-to place for for our backup customers that provide a unified management experience in Azure for enterprise to govern, monitor, operate, and analyze the backup at scale. Now Microsoft have enhanced the backup center to provide at scale monitoring capability for Azure Site Recovery users, which means any kind of site recovery replications, issues, test failovers, actual failover, all of those things would be available into the backup center. Today, ASR customer must go to every recovery vault to monitor the replicated item and jobs. That's true. With this update, they can get at scale monitor from the replicated item jobs, manage them across the subscription resource group location from a single view into the backup center. This will be a powerful tool for all the customer to easily monitor the site recovery at scale, right? So this is a new enhancement with this one. Now, with this one, what kind of capabilities which customer is going to get is kind of view entire application item inventory on a day-to-day basis for a single view across the vaults. Second, single pane of glass to monitor all your replication jobs, right? So this is something which is there. This has been introduced to enhance or to do the better cap governance monitoring and operate an analysis of your recovery items, right? Backup center support everything, right? Azure VMs, VMware, physical server scenario for Site Recovery. So all of these scenarios are fully supported for governance, monitoring, operate, and analysis directly from the backup center. The next update which we have is for a Synapse runtime. So now we have a new runtime available for Apache Spark 3.3, right? So now we can create a Synapse runtime for Apache Spark 3.3. The essential change include the features which come from upgrading the Apache Spark to version 3.3.1 and degrading the data lake, right? So please review the official note which is there to check the complete list of fixes and the features. In addition, preview the migration guideline between Spark 3.2 to 3.3 to essential potential changes into the application jobs and the run books, right? So this is a new changes specifically for the runtime, sorry, which is there for Azure Synapse runtime for Apache Spark. The next update which we have is for application consistent snapshot tool, which is known as a AzAdSnap 7, right? So there's a new update has been released for this tool in late October 2022. Version 7 of AzAdSnap snapshot tool has been released, which is also known as a Azure Application Consistent Snapshot tool. Is a command line tool that enable customer to simplify the data protection for third-party databases in a Linux environment. Azure AC 7 introduced the following capability with these new changes: Azure Backup integration improvement, uh, pre-military support for Azure NetApp files backup, currently in preview, IBM DB2 database support, adding the option to configure, test, and snapshot the backups IBM DB2 in a application consistent manner, currently in preview, shorting of the snapshot name, restore and test improvements, validation and the timeout improvement. So this has been so these are the new changes or the enhancements which has been there for Azure Application Consistent Snapshot tool, which usually take the backup of third-party databases running on the Linux environment. The next update which we have is for importing or exporting the managed disk. Now support with Azure Active Directory authentications. Azure already support disk import and export, locking uh, only from the trusted virtual network using the Azure private link. For the greater security, Microsoft has launched the integration with Azure Active Directory to export and import the data to a managed disk. This feature enables the system to validate the identity of requesting user in Azure AD and verify the users has the required permission to export and import the disk, right? So this is a new enhancement in terms of security. Earlier, there was a no validation when a user is uploading or when a user is importing and exporting the VSD or the managed disk directly from a specific VNet that has been linked to the VM. However, going forward, now user need to have a permissions, right? So without that permissions, user would not be able to import and export a managed disk directly from the trusted virtual network. So extra layer of security has been given to the import export operation for managed disk. The another update which we have is for IoT Edge Metrics Collector 1.1, which is a new modules has been released. The new Metric Collector 1.1 module is a refresh to align with the latest 1.4 version of IoT Edge. Its functionality remain unchanged. You can confidently update the metrics collector 1.0 in your IoT edge deployment to the newer version 1.1, right? So there's a new changes has been included, like update from .NET Core 3.1 to .NET 6.0, reduced Docker image size for ARM 32v7 or ARM 64v8, upgrade the IoT device SDK to a version that is consistent with latest 1.4 version of IoT Edge, right? So these are the new changes has been released with this new metric collector. Please keep in mind, like all of these uh, metrics collector, with this new metrics collector, Docker image is no longer provided. So Microsoft is no longer going to give you any kind of Windows Docker image with this new image Edge metric collector 1.1. That's it in this video. I hope you like this video. If you like, please click on like and subscribe for more upcoming videos, and feel free to reach us if you have any questions. Thank you.